Welcome back to a brand new episode of The A-Game.
On this episode, we'll go over the end to a miserable season for your Mountaineer football team, what changes could potentially happen, and what the college football playoff could look like.
And as always, you'll hear our takes on the Carolina Hurricanes season so far, the wild start of the college basketball season, and who we think has had a good standout season so far for the NFL.
And you'll also hear how the other fall sports teams have been performing over break, and a special post-game press conference from Russell Wilson after the Denver Broncos loss against the Carolina Panthers. All this and more coming to you right now on The A-Game. Guys, it's so great to be back here on the A-Game. However, the football team lost this weekend. The Mountaineers suffered a tragic loss to end the season, and they missed out on a bowl game. What do you guys think happened?
Well, first of all, we may not be dead on a bowl game just yet because there's not enough, because there's a gazillion bowl games that they need to fill spots for, so we may have a chance there. But either way, we can talk about the kicking game. Michael Hughes, the kicker for App State, had a chance to win the game from 29 yards out with time expiring, and he missed. He was 4 of 5 on field goals for the game, which is pretty good, but his longest one was 37. It was all unimpressive kicks, and I really wished he could have made the one that mattered. We wouldn't have had to go to overtime. Offense finally played very well. We got a vintage Nate Noel performance. He had 12 carries, 171 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Also had 2 catches for 34 yards. We had 376 rushing yards as a team. That's App State football. We're finally back in the running game. But unfortunately, the defense was bad again. It was the most points they've given up since week 1 against North Carolina when they gave up 63. The story of the season really is just never putting a full 60 minutes together on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, really reminded me of the North Carolina game in a lot of aspects, especially with the offensive explosion, going, toe-to-toe with the other team, and then the defense just not being able to get a stop when needed. I was saying a while ago, seems like the most consistent part of this App State team is the defense, and they've been consistently bad all year long. It's been a problem all year, and I was just happy to see the offense show up, run the ball like we know we could have all year, but we just couldn't pull it out in the end.
Yeah, Hunter, and you talk about not being able to pull it out in the end. Awful overtime play. The game script was awful. You kick a field goal against a high-powered Georgia Southern team, then they go on and score a touchdown. Also, Jeff, we had over 200 more total yards and still lost. We had 0 turnovers and we still lost. So all the things you brought up and all the stuff you brought up as well, Hunter, probably are the reason why the Mountaineers ended with yet another loss. Now, speaking of college football playoffs are just around the corner here. What do you think the college football playoff will look like?
I don't know. Right now, it's crazy. We're going into a conference championship season where I think there could be some more mix-ups. I think the first 2 teams, that's going to be Georgia and Michigan. I think they're pretty well set. I don't know if LSU, after dropping the ball this week, is going to be able to beat Georgia. I also don't think Purdue is going to be able to beat Michigan. But I'm really looking at those last 2 games. I'm looking at TCU, Kansas State, and I'm also looking at USC, Utah. Kansas State is actually leading TCU earlier on the year, but TCU came back, ended up winning that game. And also, Utah beat USC earlier in the year. Now, this USC team is a lot different than they were earlier. Caleb Williams is playing lights out right now, but I'm really looking at them 2 games right there to see how this is going to work out.
Yeah, those are really the 2 interesting games that you need to look at on Saturday, because you take a look at the SEC championship between Georgia and LSU. Georgia's probably going to run away with that one. Purdue against Michigan, that one's not going to be close, I don't think. And then the ACC championship game, both teams sleepwalking into that one, and there's no college football playoff implications. Ohio State and LSU both got knocked out this past weekend, I think, completely. But it's really going to be interesting with those Big 12 and Pac-12 championship games, as you mentioned, Hunter. Because in that TCU-Kansas State game that happened earlier, I think TCU benefited a lot from injuries to the quarterback position for Kansas State, and that's how they were able to pull ahead in that game. And then you said it, Utah's already beaten USC, but USC is on a roll right now. I think there's a lot of fans rooting for mass chaos, but I personally am not, because that means Alabama's got a chance to get in, which is hard.
They shouldn't be in.
It's hard to believe because they have two losses, and they've come to pretty good teams, but they can somehow back in with some help from Utah and Kansas State.
Look, all I'm going to say is that I really hope TCU makes it. And if they do make it, go back, A-Game episode 4, I called it. I said, look, those Horned Frogs, don't count them out. When everybody else was like, okay, Alabama, LSU, TCU, I hope they make it. And I also really want to see USC make it. They're 11-1. They're first in the Pac-12. Last year, they were 4-8. I don't really know what happened then and now. Lincoln Riley, hey, you got to give credit where it's due. He came in and really helped turn around the squad. You talked about Caleb Williams. He should be the Heisman candidate. In 12 games, he has a 65.8% completion rating, 3,712 yards, 44 total touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Those stats are nearly better than all the other USC Heisman winners, including Matt Leinart and Carson Palmer. So, hey, Caleb Williams, he's putting on the Jets. All I'm going to say, that's all I'm going to say. But this guy right here might want to see Drake May win.
I think he's out of the running at this point. This is Caleb Williams' Heisman Trophy to lose at this point.
Well, either way, don't go anywhere, because after the break, we'll talk about how men's and women's basketball has been performing so far and how the wrestling season has been during their recent stretch. Welcome back to the A-Game. Now let's check in on wrestling, as well as men's and women's basketball.
The Lady Mountaineers bounced back this past week after going on a 2-game losing streak, beating Davidson 84-82. 4 of the players recorded double digits in points. Redshirt senior Janae Sanders led the way with 24 points, 3 assists, and 3 steals. Other solid performances from Faith Alston, Brooke Biggett, and Emily Carver helped lead the team to an impressive win. The Lady Mountaineers will face off against Wofford this Saturday, December 3rd, for their next game. Now we'll hear from the Mountaineers following their victory against Davidson.
Fun game. Generally, when we compete against Davidson, it always is a high-paced, high-scoring game. Similar styles in terms of how we like to play. However, they obviously have a dominant post. It's huge. I was actually pretty much panicking at halftime because I was like, we're 10 for 20 from 3. I didn't want us to get too 3 happy. But one thing we were able to do this week, too, was just get in the gym, with our kids, and then give them a break for Thanksgiving. And I think they came back, energized. I think that, that's just our team. I got to listen to their bodies sometimes. But they got two days off, and I thought yesterday we shot it well. So it was really nice to see it translate.
The men's basketball team got the win this past week over East Tennessee State with a score of 74-70, moving them to a 5-2 record overall. Donovan Gregory led the team with 14 points and 3 assists, and Tyree Boykin had 13 points and 3 steals. The Mountaineers look to face UNC Charlotte this Friday, December 2nd, followed by a home game against the Carlos Celtics on December 6th.
The App State wrestling team will travel to Las Vegas, Nevada this weekend to participate in the Cliff Keen Invitational. The Mountaineers recently took part in the Keystone Classic, which resulted in 2 wins from John Milner and Will Miller. Miller scored his first collegiate tournament win in a 6-0 decision. App State finished 4th in an 11-team field, scoring 115 points overall.
Stay where you are, because after the break, you'll hear about our takes on college basketball, the NFL, and the Carolina Hurricanes.
To a place where you can grow.
A place to be heard.
And take a closer look.
A place where you can crush it.
And push yourself.
A place to find your voice.
This place rocks. And rolls.
A place where you can get out.
Way out!
A place you'll never forget.
So where is this place? Let me show you.
Welcome back to the A-Game. Now, Noah, what do you think about the start to the college basketball season?
I know, a little bit of a different topic for me since the NASCAR season is over, but let's talk about 3 basketball shockers that happened this past week. Number 1, Alabama beats number 1 ranked UNC in 4 overtime in the Phil Knight Invitational. Sorry, Jeff. 103-101 loss for UNC. Alabama guard Mark Sears, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Forward Brandon Miller, 14 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. Bench guard Javon Quinterly, 21 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds. On the UNC side, Caleb Love, 34 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. Armando Bacot, 20 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. UNC drops to number 18 in the newest AP poll. Jeff, I know, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
But
no,
second loss in a row for UNC. They most recently lost to Iowa State. And now, guys, Purdue. Purdue has become a solid sleeper team here. Number 24 ranked Purdue shocked to number 6 Gonzaga. They won 84-66. Purdue, guess who their most leading scorer is? Do you think it's a guard, forward, or center?
It's Zach Edey, the center.
That's right. Zach Edey in this game versus Gonzaga had 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Gonzaga drew Timmy, 22 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1 steal. Purdue is a very solid sleeper team with this 7'4" Zach Edey being able to just go in and dunk it in, lay it in, whatever he can. Like, that's a solid center right there. And he's not Victor Wembanyama, but that's another story. But 2 days later, got to talk about Purdue again. They beat number 8 Duke. Now, Jeff, that's something I know you can be happy about. Yeah. Purdue got out early and they didn't look back. Again, Zach Edey, 21 points, 12 rebounds, 7 for 13 on field goals, and 7 for 8 on free throws. Duke, Tyrese Proctor, 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. The Duke bench was non-existent. There were no players over 20 points, and Purdue was a well-oiled machine. Purdue shot 44.8% from field goal range versus Duke's 36.2%. They were 38.9% from 3. Duke shot 10.5%. You're not winning a basketball game if you can't shoot it from 3. I don't know if they're still reeling over Mike Krzyzewski being gone, but Duke's going to have to turn it around real quickly. Now I'm going to toss it to y'all. How much do y'all know about college basketball coming into this season?
Well, I watched that North Carolina-Alabama game, of course. It was – the overtime periods were a really tough watch, not just because, you know, the stress as a fan, but it was really tough to watch because every single player out there was dead tired for the entire game. So it felt like every single basket was like, oh, this is going to be the dagger, but – then it just kept going and going and going. And Caleb Love, you talk about him having 34 points. I believe he took 36 shots in that game. 36. I can't even be impressed with 34 points if you're taking 36 shots. And down the stretch, he took some questionable ones, had some chances to win the game at the buzzer, and didn't come through, which is unfortunate. And then UNC didn't even play Armando Bacot in the last two overtimes, even though he hadn't fouled out yet. He still had 4 fouls. You might as well use him. He's your best player.
I'm excited to see how both these teams do. But, Hunter, we're going to switch to the NFL now. What has been going on? Who are your top performers so far?
Yeah, it's been a really crazy season so far, and I really wanted to narrow down the 5 people that I thought were really doing well this season. I'd love to hear y'all's opinions too. Yeah. Some of them might be a little outlandish.
I'm going to say mine.
But you might already have seen number 5, Jamal Williams, running back for the Detroit Lions. Okay, here we go. 11 games, 7th in the league in attempts, 12th in the league in rush yards, 1st in the league in rushing touchdowns. Let me just lay it out for y'all. Coming into the season, his career total in touchdowns so far was 13. He's already tied it. He had 10 in 4 years in Green Bay. He had 3 last year with Detroit. He's doing really good. He is a dog in short yardage. He's had 10 touchdowns within 5 yards. So that's really, really good.
That's really good.
And he's a big reason why the Lions are actually having a half decent season. They're 4-7, but that's good for the Lions. That's good for the Lions. So number 5, Jamal Williams.
And you can argue Jamal Williams isn't even the best running back on his team.
DeAndre Swift is there too. It's crazy.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and run down the list. Number 4, Micah Parsons. Everyone knows him. He's the defensive end for the Cowboys. Let's just run through some stats real quick. 11 games, 50 tackles, 12 sacks, 28 pressures. He's leading this dominant Cowboys defense that's allowing 17 points per game. They just blew out the Vikings a couple weeks ago. I'm about to talk about them in a little bit. But he's leading this team. He is the drive. He has the motor for that defense. And if they're going to go far in this season, they're going to have Micah Parsons for the rest of this season doing well.
Have to.
So I've already kind of said it, but number 3, Kevin O'Connell, the head coach of the Vikings. Wow. You might know he took over from Mike Zimmer, the old head coach of the Vikings. And since O'Connell has came in, he has took over that offense. They're a lot more comfortable. They're going really well right now. I mean, Kirk Cousins, a.k.a. Kirk Cochains, a.k.a. Kirk Thuggins, whatever you want to say. He's 7th in the league right now in passing yards. Dalvin Cook is 6th in the league in rushing yards. And Justin Jefferson, J.J. Jettas, he's 2nd in receiving. O'Connell coming in has really gave this offense a new light, and they are really playing well. The defense is playing kind of okay, but they're 9-2. So I say O'Connell really changed that team, and that's why one of the best teams in the NFC right now. So let's just go down the guy. Number 2, Travis Kelce. He is that guy for the Chiefs right now. Everyone thought, oh, Tyreek Hill's gone. What are they going to do? Hey, Kelce took over. Let's go. 7th in receiving yards right now. 1st in receiving touchdowns right now. As a tight end, he is that guy. And I think he's having a historic season right now at tight end. And I think he might go down as one of the best ever. But he's still got a couple more years to figure it out.
Got a couple more years.
So, all right, number 1. What do y'all think?
Eagles.
Jeff?
I have no idea where you're going with this.
It's the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right. That's right.
Shout out Eric in the booth.
Yeah. They are stacked at every position. OL, DL, running back, linebacker, wide receiver, and especially quarterback. They do that RPO offense. It's called run, pass. Oh, crap, where's Jalen? Running down the field. Probably scoring a touchdown on your favorite team. They have a great foundation led by him, Jason Kelce, Fletcher Cox. That's why they're 10-1 right now. Nick Sirianni has got his dogs rolling right now, and I think they're going to roll deep into the regular season and deep into the playoffs right now. So I know it went a bit long, but that's 5 of the top performers right now in the NFL.
I like it.
So, Jeff, I know it took some of your time, but the Hurricanes have been going through a tough stretch. What do you think about it?
Yeah, man. So the Hurricanes have been bad in November. They've won 5 games. They have 5 wins in 13 games. They had 5 losses in a row from November 17th to November 25th, which luckily ended this past weekend with a win over the Calgary Flames. Yuck. But WASU, we had a nice little outing at the Coyotes game, and they lost 4-0 to one of the worst teams in the league, the Arizona Coyotes. It was
not good.
It was no fun to be at. The Canes right now rank 28th in goals per game, despite being 3rd in shots per game, which they're getting it on net. They're just not putting it in the net. The penalty kill is middle of the road in terms of league-wide average. But right now, I mean, you got to take a look at the Canes and say, well, you know, we may not be as good as last season. But right now, the Hurricanes currently are 3rd in the Metro Division, which means they're in the playoff picture. They're doing their job right now. I'm just here to say relax because it's early. There's a couple of other teams like Pittsburgh and New York who are expected to be in that playoff picture who are also struggling. This team is going to get healthier. Teuvo Teravainen, a winger, has missed a lot of time. Max Pacioretty, who the Hurricanes signed to a big contract in the offseason, hasn't even played this season because he got injured after that contract was signed. Right now, the Canes just need more production out of some of their outside guys. You know, Martin Necas, Sebastian Aho, and Andrei Svechnikov all have 20-plus points. That's goals and assists on the season. Only one other guy on the team has more than 10. So someone's going to have to step up, but I think this team can do it and get their act together when it matters the most.
Yeah, Jeff, I was at that Hurricanes game with you as well with WASU. I'm not betraying App TV, but I was there, and it was my first hockey game. I know time is running down. I just want to say the Arizona Coyotes goalie, I don't know if he was tested for PEDs after that because that guy was going crazy. Like, he was blocking every single – I'm serious. Like, he was – I turned around to you and I was like, so is this team good? And
no.
You were like, no.
No,
so
not at all.
Either way, stay where you are, because after the break, we'll hear from Denver Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson following their 23-10 defeat against the Carolina Panthers.
Life is a journey. We're told that there are mountains and valleys before us. A mountaineer trudges through. Where others see an obstacle, a mountaineer sees an opportunity. A mountaineer climbs tomorrow's mountains today. So what is a mountaineer? A mountaineer is you.
Welcome back to the A-Game. Now we'll hear an exclusive press conference following the Carolina Panthers win over the Denver Broncos.
Russ, first, what happened with you and Mike on the sideline? It blew up on social media, so if you're asked that first, what happened in that situation?
Well, Mike and I are on the same page. He came off after they kicked the field goal, and he was pissed off. He just said, we got to effing go, and I agree, So me and him on the same page. There's no animosity there at all. We're on the same page. We got to win. We got to come out here and have some grit to us, some mentality to us. We got to be able to win these football games, and so those guys are out there battling every play. On offense, we got to be able to capitalize. So yeah, no, there's nothing there at all. Me and him, there was no nothing there.
Russ, with all due respect, the offense is getting tougher and tougher to watch. You guys just can't seem to score points.
Yeah, it's unacceptable. Bottom line. This organization is this tradition here. This everything else. It's we got to honor it. We got to honor it by winning. We got to honor it by our work ethic. Continue working hard, but we got to go out there and play. And play great and be able to find ways to score touchdowns. I think at the end of the game there, the best thing I saw was we didn't give up. And I think even that second to last drive there, we battled, went up and down the field, kept going. Had some shots in the end zone, and then I was happy for Brandon obviously to just get that touchdown for him. But just it's unacceptable.
Chris, you mentioned that touchdown.
Sorry,
you mentioned that touchdown there to Brandon Johnson. How do you balance, and obviously for you, that's your 300 Ty Elway versus kind of the emotion of what you're going through right now with the loss. How do you balance those two things?
Well, I think first of all, I'm more happy for Brandon. To score his first touchdown, what a blessing. Obviously, he's been working so hard. And he's done an amazing job. High character guy, guy's giving everything every day. In terms of obviously John Elway thing, I'd rather win than anything else. At the end of the day, the only thing I care about, the only record I really care about is winning. And so we got to find how to do that.
Why do you think the offense hasn't gained traction or been able to improve over the course of 10, 11 games?
I think we've been inconsistent. We've been inconsistent. We've been had some good runs. We've had some good passing plays. We've had some good moments, some really good moments, and then we've had some bad ones too, and allowed us not to be successful. And so we got to get the losing out of our system. Winning is a habit. losing can be too. And so we got to make sure we have winning habits throughout the process, not just throughout the week, but throughout the whole game. You know, it's a 4-quarter game. It's a 4-quarter game, and the game wasn't over. And we got to keep believing in it. We got to keep, not blinking. And we got to believe that at any point something great's going to happen. And so we got to capitalize on opportunities. And, I think we kicked the field goal when they muffed the punt. We got to get a touchdown there. There are different moments like that. And so I'm going to do everything I can for us to figure that out. We're going to do everything we can as a collective group, and that's what we have to do.
What kind of impact does it have when a guy like Brian Burns, is in the backfield as much as he was today? How does that, affect the way that you specifically want to play? Yeah, I mean, obviously, Burns had a great night. He's a great player. He's done some special things. You got to give him his respect and tip your hat to him. He did a great job tonight. Tremendous player. Tremendous athlete. We saw it on film. We saw what he could do. And so we got to be able to slow him down for sure. And we battled, but he had a great game.
Russell, have you felt like during the week, leading up to the games, as you guys come into this, that obviously it hasn't turned out well on Sundays, but are you feeling during the week like it's coming together, and does that make it a surprise when you guys, do show up on Sunday and it's not there?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, I think that that's probably the most disappointing part that we had. Really, the past three weeks or so. I think the whole week in London, I thought we had an unbelievable week. Focus level was there, backs against the wall, going international, everything else. I thought our focus was at an all-time high. We come back and we had a great week of practice, getting ready for last week, and everything else. And obviously we thought we should have won that game. It was a battle, and then obviously this week, we only had, I think, 2 drives in the first quarter. I think we were backed up on the 4 or 5 yard line. Hit the punt, next drive they get, and then they go for the fake punt, so they kind of steal a drive from us. So it's definitely disappointing today. Like I said, we have to stay focused on the work. And we got a lot of young guys. There's a lot of great opportunity for those guys to learn as much as they can, to learn what adversity is like, to learn what tough times are like. It's definitely a tough time, but also knowing that it's also temporary if we have the right attitude. And there's really 2 things we can control: our work ethic and our attitude. Those are the 2 things. So we got to be able to do that.
You've mentioned the third
last
quarter
one, Andrew,
as a trouble spot. What is he?
Sorry, one more time.
You mentioned the third quarter and the issues there. What kind of transpired today to have that continue for another week?
Well, I got to watch the film a little bit to see everything that happened, just so I can recall it all. But I think that we got to have our first play's got to be a really good positive play, our second play too, and then obviously our third one. So I think that they did a good job. They played us well. 53 is a factor for sure. They did some good things. Like you said, we got to be better in our third quarter. We got to be better every quarter. It's not just the third quarter. We got to be better every quarter. From here on out, that's got to be our mentality. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. There's so many moments in there, and we got to capitalize on those moments. And it's not just one particular moment. It's the whole game. The whole game's got to matter. The whole game, every play's got to matter. Every moment, we got to be in tune. And there's going to be tough times. There's going to be ebbs and flows like any other game in sports. There's going to be ebbs and flows throughout the game, and we got to learn how to overcome those ebbs and flows. We got to learn how to overcome the tough times, and when something doesn't work out or whatever it is, how do we capture that? And so that's what we're searching for. That's what we're trying to do.
Thank you very much, Russ. Thank you. Well, as always, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of The A-Game. And make sure to keep following us for all your sports news.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at The A-Game Sports, and to check out App TV on YouTube.
That's Jeff, that's Noah, and I'm Hunter. We appreciate you coming out to watch this episode, and we'll hope you'll join us again.